7, Nick Foles, he didn't look good. Incomplete pass intended for Torrey Smith.
He actually looked really bad in this game.
Pressure up the middle by DeMarcus Lawrence, who looked pretty good early. Cowboys' first drive now. Dak to Dez, get him involved, right?
A screen, and it worked. Oh, my goodness. Go figure, right?
Yep. Cowboys turn on 4th down, and Zeke gets stuffed because Byron Bell got stuffed.
Byron Bell is not good.
All right, first quarter still 4:43 left, 2nd and 14. Foles, play action, rolls out right, intercepted by Cheeto. Give me some Cheetos.
Love him. He would leave the game, though, with a shoulder injury, but that's a heck of a play right there by Cheeto.
Intended for Jeffrey, poorly thrown ball, too. Okay, Tom, this is just classic T-Will, right? He thinks he's got a first down. We didn't show it long enough to be able to talk about it long enough. All right, 3rd and 5. Nate Sudfeld now in the game. Dayton's Jones with a sack. All right, Cowboys turn again. Dak to Dez. Big gain, right?
Big play, right? Puts him down there kind of near the red zone there. Huge game by Dez. Nice catch. Big play.
First thing anything really happened in this game, but Byron Bell holding penalty.
Very obvious holding penalty, and he still almost gave up the sack.
Yeah, those are the first half highlights there. Yeah.
Well,
that was pretty ugly.
This was
there's
bad.
There's not much to talk about.
Because it was the Cowboys against the second-string Eagles team, and it was bad, and that was probably the worst football game I've watched outside of the preseason.
Yeah.
And maybe even including the preseason, because at least the preseason, I'm excited to see the guys that no one's heard of and see how they play, the guys that might make the roster. This was a bunch of guys that should be playing well and didn't play well at all.
Yeah, it was an ugly first half, but Tom, you know what's not ugly, and that's the Guild. We are sponsored today by the Guild. Visit stayguild.com. Use that promo code ChatSports for 15% off your stay. The Cowboys Report, sponsored by the Guild all season. A new concept in hospitality in Austin, Texas. If you're taking a trip to Austin, which you need to do, Tom. Should really do.
Going after the end of this year.
You need to stay with the Guild. Luxury lodging at the best residential buildings in Austin. It's like a luxury Airbnb that comes with a virtual concierge. Visit stayguild.com, 15% off your next stay when you use that promo code ChatSports. All right, Tom, Downey, I am Brett Scott. Let's get into those second half highlights here. The Cowboys did actually win this game. There was some scoring, but it was only one score.
Yeah. Anthony Brown there with the sack. Big play there by Brown coming off the blitz in that Orlando Scandrick type role. Then it's the Nate Sudfeld scramble here, tucking one. Frankly, one of the bigger plays by either team on the game. That came on a key 3rd and 3.
I thought Sudfeld looked actually kind of decent in this game.
I thought he looked better than Nick Foles, actually. So then there's Jalen Smith, Brett, making a tackle for loss in the backfield, taking down Corey Clement.
Jalen Smith played all 16 games this season. That's pretty impressive for that man after that injury.
And then here with some punting time, Downey Jones. It was that type of game, Brett. We're going to show you a punt. One of the better plays all game. Perfect punt out of bounds at the 1-yard line. Right call, but switch to the Atletico over his head. And then on 2nd and 22, because of, holding calls.
Oh.
Look, it's Bryce Butler. He's back.
So Bryce Butler came back in a big way here in the second half, didn't he, Tom?
And then Dez on a hitch route, making guys miss. See, good things happen when Dez has the ball in space. Maybe the Cowboys should try more of that. And then again, Bryce Butler from Dak on the simple slant. Touchdown Cowboys, first points of the game.
Look, this is what you like to see out of Dallas. Dak sees the blitz, finds his hot read, Bryce Butler touchdown. We don't want to see what Dan Bailey did the rest of the game, though.
And then it's 4th and 2 now for the Eagles, and they do not convert it. Xavier Woods breaks up the pass. Now it's 6-0 here, Cowboys. Dan Bailey to put the game on ice for good, and he misses from 23 yards.
He gives the Eagles another chance to win the game, but they didn't do anything with it. We will show you that last play because it was fun.
Dan, what's wrong with Dan Bailey, Brett?
What is wrong with Dan Bailey? I think maybe there is something wrong with Dan Bailey because he's missed how many kicks in the last 3 weeks?
I believe that he is hurt, actually. That is my current theory. I don't think he was 100% when he came back from the injury. I think he just needs the offseason to get healthy, and also the mental side of things. That's always critical for a kicker.
Dak Prescott, 17 of 30, 179 yards in the 1 touchdown. Elliott, 27 carries, 103 yards. They did feed Zeke in this game, especially that last drive, Tom. 1st and goal. 3 Zeke carries. How about that? It didn't result in a touchdown, but I'll take it. I won't take Dan Bailey missing more field goals.
I'll be honest, I half expected Scott Linehan to come out and throw it 3 times just to rub it in everyone's faces. Well, that's not what happened, but I'm glad that they ended up running the football, so I consider that a positive in the end.
I'm seeing some great comments coming in. We've got a reaction poll for you here. We'll pull up. Chris saying, I'd release or replace Tyron Smith.
I mean, why?
What?
Why?
Why?
Have you seen what Byron Bell is? Have you seen the difference in the offense with Tyron Smith versus without Tyron Smith? If you want more depth because you're worried about his injuries, I actually agree with you. They need to find a new swing tackle. But releasing Tyron Smith is, frankly, one of the worst ideas I've seen suggested to us.
You know, commenters are coming back at him hot. Chad says, release Tyron Smith, you serious guy? No. Agree.
No.
We're not releasing Tyron Smith. That would be the worst offseason move the Cowboys could possibly make.
When he's healthy, he's probably the best offensive lineman in the NFL. That's a really bad idea.
Yeah. Another comment from Fred, Dan can't be 100%. We seem to agree with that.
Yeah, I agree. I think his groin's messed up. I think the first one was just he overcooked it. The second one was just a simple pull. But when you're not quite right, that brings up issues. All
right, Tom, what do you make of this 2017 Cowboys season?
I think in a word, disappointing. And I think that the Elliott suspension was a disappointment. I think the way Scott Linehan ran the offense was a disappointment. The injuries to Sean Lee was a disappointment. Dan Bailey missing field goals late in the game, a disappointment. And of course, most of all, not making the playoffs when everyone thought they should do it this year is a big disappointment.
Yeah, it was a big disappointment season. Cowboys fall a game, maybe 2 games short of the playoffs. The Seahawks game, really a culmination of that disappointment. The Cowboys do get a shutout victory against the Philadelphia Eagles, first time since Week 17 of the 2009 season, when the Cowboys shut out the Eagles to win the NFC East in a winner-take-the-East game.
It was the first time, by the way, it was 0-0 tie entering the fourth quarter since 2007 with Carolina and Seattle. First time it was a scoreless halftime game since 2011. Bears-Broncos, quarterbacked by Tim Tebow and Caleb Haney.
It was as ugly as it got today. It kind of felt like neither team was really trying all that hard. But like you said, Tom, you have to be a little bit disappointed in the Cowboys offense going up against the backups of the Eagles.
I actually really am. Because, I mean, what worse way to come out in this game? Yeah, you got the win. It was 6-0. The Cowboys front office had said, hey, we're going to stick with Jason Garrett. We're going to see what the coordinators do. So it was kind of a go out and prove it game in reality. And the offense looks terrible.
Yeah.
Linehan has got to go.
It wasn't good. So we look forward to that Cowboys offseason. Today's Cowboys Report is, of course, sponsored by the Guild. Visit stayguild.com. Use that promo code CHATSPORTS for 15% off your stay. We've got Cowboys Reports all offseason. We'll be back on Thursday. But Tom has a little bit of a preview.
Oh, yeah.
What position should the Cowboys target in the first round of the NFL draft?
I don't just have the position, Brett. I got the name for you.
Uh-oh.
I got who I want. Vita Vea, the defensive tackle from Washington, 340 pounds, fills the one technique is that run-stuffing defensive tackle, but Brett, he can also rush the passer. He is the exceedingly rare 340-pound, 3-down defensive lineman. I love Vita Vea. I want him on the roster. I think he'd be a perfect fit for the Cowboys. Exactly what the defensive line needs. You can take Vita Vea in round 1. I think you could then look towards a receiver or a linebacker in round 2, and then whichever one you didn't get in round 3. Boom. Solved. Off. Hire me as the GM. Done.
So let's talk about each of these positions here, Tom. Real quickly, we'll talk about these more as we go along during the offseason. Linebacker, who's out there? Does that even make sense? I think in the end, Cowboys are would be looking ahead to that Sean Lee replacement down the line. Maybe you take a flyer if you're going after a linebacker in the first round.
I think what you'll see is it's a big factor to see what happens with Anthony Hitchens. If Anthony Hitchens leaves, linebacker becomes, I think, maybe the most important position of need for the Dallas Cowboys because there's Sean Lee, Jalen Smith, and Damian Wilson, Kyle Wilbur. So I think linebacker is a big need there. It's a pretty good class of linebackers. You can get someone in round 1 if Roquan Smith there. You can get a good player in round 2 or round 3. So I think linebackers are the Cowboys are going to have to focus early because you can't trust Sean Lee to stay healthy, unfortunately.
Wide receivers, the next one we have on this list, Calvin Ridley could be the target there as maybe the best wide receiver in this class.
Yeah, I think he is, and I think he'll be a very good day 1 player. He's also 23 years old, so he's a little bit older than you'd like in most receivers. He'll turn 24 in his first year. I wouldn't be surprised if the Cowboys look more towards day 2 for a receiver because my big question is, assuming you bring back Dez, I think that's what the Cowboys are going to do. If the Cowboys don't bring back Dez, then it becomes a huge need, but you're going to sit Terrence Williams? Or are you just going to plug in Ridley in the T-Will role? Because if you do, I don't know how much that actually improves the offense.
Next one up here is the defensive tackle, which we already talked about. Let's go over to the offensive line, Tom. We saw the injuries really pile up for Dallas this year. You know, the loss of Ronald Leary and Doug Free seemed to also play a role. Cooper on the left side. Could this be another one of those years where the Cowboys go and try and stock up on the offensive line in the first round?
I don't know if it's going to be in the first round, but I think they'll spend multiple picks throughout the draft on the offensive line. The Cowboys don't have a ton right now, but they're going to get quite a few in the compensatory range because of free agents that they lost last year. I think you're going to look for potentially a new starting left guard. We saw Jonathan Cooper go down. Don't know how severe that injury is, but it did not look very good at the time. He's also a free agent. So left guard is a big need, and you have got to find a new swing tackle because Byron Bell and Chaz Green are not getting the job done. Those are both areas Cowboys are going to have to address early, either in the draft or in free agency. I would imagine the draft, though, because it'll be cheaper.
One comment I want to get to before we sign off here, Brandon Taylor saying, so nobody is talking about this being Dez's last game. I don't think it's going to be Dez's last game, Brandon. I think he'll be back. I think he's a Cowboy.
You know, and we discussed that last week as well, but the Cowboys made a concerted effort to get the ball to Dez, which leads me to think two things. One, they're showcasing him, which I don't think they really need to do because we know who Dez Bryant is. I think the other thing is then they're trying to make sure they get some Dak and Dez chemistry going for the offseason. I would think Dez returns, but look, we'll wait and see. If I had to bet, though, I agree with you, Brett. Dez returns to the Cowboys next season.
I am Brett Scott. This is Tom Downey alongside me here. Follow him on Twitter at WhatGoingDowney. We'll have all the offseason coverage that you need as a Cowboys fan, draft, free agency, everything in between. You know, it was a weird 2017 season. Suspensions, bad play calling,
all kinds of bad
stuff. Quarterback play at times.
Bad everything,
injuries
really.
all over the place.
Yeah, that was not good.
You know, and it culminated in the final play of the season. And this, of course, was on the Eagles side. But it just seemed fitting that this was the last play of the season. Tom, what was this play?
This was an attempted lateral thing that the Eagles tried to do to win the game late. We'll play this for you here because it was just a very weird play as well kind of throughout. It was just a gigantic mess for the Eagles.
Yeah, that's going to do it on this week's Cowboys Report. We'll be back Thursday and every week going forward still. Even though it's the offseason, we'll have plenty to talk about because Cowboys fans, we know it's not Super Bowl or bust. It's always Super Bowl or bust. Let's take a look at that last play as we close out here.
He originally finds Shelton Gibson, so the lateral to Marcus Johnson, and then Johnson's trying to make guys miss, and then he throws it, and a guy named Daniel Ross scoops up. The big guy then loses the football, and it bounces back. Brett, for a second, I thought we were going to get a safety. Instead, it's Matt Collins. The Sudfeld gets taken down about the 2-yard line, and that is how the season ends for the Cowboys.